Hello and welcome back to Real Estate Real Home Stories. I'm Sue Curlette and I am joined today by my wonderful co-host John Smith. John, you got the
How
red
you
on.
guys doing?
Whoop, 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 whoop. So we both work for real estate companies that have red colors. That's the big like uh what do you call it, foreshadowing of what today's going to be about, because today is about change. John, what do you think about change? Honestly, what do you think? Like when you know something's going to change, do you get like, oh, excited, or oh no?
I'd say my first response is I don't like change
I don't like change
because
either.
I um I work a lot of systems. Those systems, most of those related to say work, are in my head.
Yeah,
And so I know how the pieces should come together. And when you throw in a quirk, that sometimes can throw people off. So let me say this first. So we're in an industry right now that's going through a lot of change.
absolutely.
And a lot of the changes around the NAR settlement, which we beat the hell out of that horse.
Right.
So I won't just
Die
keep
dead
going and on
horse.
and
Die
on
dead
and on.
horse. Yep.
So we've all in like 2 months or 3 weeks, we all figured out what the new is. Does it create a difference in your explanations? For me, not really.
Right.
For some agents, there was a learning hurdle. So for me, the change is an annoyance. But once I figure out how to fit the change into the equation for me and how to keep going, I don't really care. I will tell you that for those people who aren't full time out there, and for those people that do 3 or 4 deals a year, you're going to struggle in this new world.
Absolutely.
Since August, right? We've had two additional contractual changes,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'd say there's probably three addendums that came out of that.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're that person who's watching and saying, "Oh, what,
What
what?"
changes? What do you mean?
Yeah, right. Now, I can't speak to other jurisdictions because I'm only licensed in this state. But I will tell you that if you're somebody historically who's done a deal a quarter, man, this is a whole new world for you.
It
Because
really
the
is.
changes, we used to say, oh, well, the General Assembly will go through the summer and they'll make proposals and then it'll all get voted on. And then we'll get a list of all the changes for October of a particular calendar year. That ain't the show no more, folks.
Right.
They're making changes like rapid fire. So
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you new people and you folks that are active and active, active and active, it's going to be a whole new world
Get
for
on
you.
a big horse
Now,
and ride. Yep.
on the bright side, for all of us, including consumers, right? Because
Absolutely.
consumers are going to benefit from what I'm going to tell you next. The Feds announced today that they're probably going to cut their rates, not mortgage rates. It's not direct correlation, but the Fed's going to cut their rates probably another 0.25%. So you're going to start seeing that factor in.
Yeah.
The other day after the election, no politics here. The stock market, the Dow, loved that. I think it went up 1,400 points,
Yeah.
but it's not going to go up every day. Nothing goes up every day. Some days it'll go down 1,400 points, God forbid. Other days it'll go up, down 6, 4, 3, 2, whatever it does. However, I'll tell you that the financial markets like the outcome of Tuesday. They do.
Yeah.
You cannot like the outcome,
And it
but
might
the
change,
financial
like you
markets like the
said,
outcome.
I mean, that there's that word again. That could change overnight. So no
Anything
promises,
can change.
just hopeful thinking, hopeful looking. And, you know,
Yeah,
like you said earlier, politically we don't care.
I
But
don't care.
we don't care. Um, Bottom line is that we are seeing a tremendous change, and there's a lot of changes that we're going to talk about in this podcast. First being
Hmm.
Home Joiner. Home Joiner, when I first started it, I wanted to build this big company and I wanted to make this website like amazing. And here's what happened. I couldn't even sleep. I had no time. I couldn't do everything. So I made a decision and I said, you know what? Home Joiner is going to grow itself and it is open to
It will.
everyone, right? It's open
It
to
will.
everyone in the
It will.
country. The website is made for consumers. It is my gift to you. It is now
Right.
free. And I want you, if you're a consumer, I want you to go on there, check your areas. You know, as this podcast grows, so will Home Joiner. I'm
Yeah.
really going to be advertising Home Joiner only through the podcast. So if you're a listener and you're a service provider, then please feel free to go on
Jump
there.
in.
Yeah, hop on, put in your contact information, put in your license and your insurance, because we
Yeah.
really do support legalities here. You know what I mean? Like, I fully believe that if you're not licensed to conduct business in the state and it's required, then you should not be on not only my website,
Yeah.
but you shouldn't be doing business. So I just feel that way. If it requires a
Well,
license, you're going to have it. This is not a site for you to do anything other than to go in and to pick up a service provider that
yeah.
you as a consumer can call and say, hey, look, I saw your license, I saw your insurance, I read your bio, and I'd like you to come out and give me a price on repairing my home or giving me whatever service you need. It's open to realtors. It's open to everyone in the home service industry. Here's what I believe in, right? I believe in doing the right thing all the time. I know that people say that, but I'm telling you, I truly believe it. And I believe that John believes it as well. We have worked really hard for the last 20 some years each. And collectively, we've got 41 years of experience on this podcast that we're offering you. I think I got a real kick to the teeth with this whole NAR lawsuit. And it raised my crazy Karen hairs, whatever we want to call it. And I was like, this is so crazy. You've got people on Facebook looking for realtors, looking for somebody to do their HVAC system. And they're being referred by their neighbors. Like, guys, we can do better than that. And that's what Home Joiner does. And that's it. That's all you're going to hear about Home Joiner today. It's free.
It's not a. It's not a. Look, a
It's a
lot of these
bulletin
things
board.
that the people. It's not a message board. It's not a.
No,
It's not a. It's not a verbal dump zone.
exactly. You
It's
cannot
there
leave,
to help you.
right?
You
There's
cannot
nowhere for
communicate.
you to leave
All
any
they did.
information. There's nowhere for you to leave
Right.
comments. If you're a company and you're legit and you want to share your license, your experience,
Yeah.
your bio,
Jump in.
feel free. And there is a donation button, because guess what? I've paid thousands of dollars to build this website. If you really, I don't even need you to pay me now. Like, you know what I
You'll
mean?
pay thousands more
Yeah.
before it's all said and done.
I'm going to be right. And I'm okay with continuing to pay for the website. However, what I need to do is I need everybody to hear me and take advantage of this free offer, because literally there's
Yeah.
not much free in life. And this is. So if you start getting calls, right? If you start getting calls from a client and that client does a job with you, my ask is that you go on there and send $100, send $50, send $200, whatever that lead was worth for you. Please donate. Let me keep the site going. Yeah. And
Send me a note. Send me a note. You can find all of us on
absolutely.
all kinds of mechanisms. I'm amazed sometimes of where people go to try to find me and send me a message.
Yeah. We've done this podcast. This is like our 26th or 27th episode. It's fun. We've got, a couple thousand followers on different sites out there. I know you're listening to us on Spotify. We're getting some feedback now. I do want to say, Nancy, hello. Thank you for reaching out. Nancy's father reached out to us and said that she would like us to say hello to her. So Nancy, hey, if you ever want to get in real estate, let us know. We'll help you out. So thank you for listening, Nancy, and Merry Christmas early, Happy Thanksgiving, whatever.
All that good stuff.
We appreciate the positive feedback, guys, and we appreciate you giving us the time while you're driving down the road or while you're doing whatever. Spotify's also been very good to us, so thank you, Spotify. And we are going to share some more news. And that news is that I and John now work for companies that are red. One would happen to be HomeSmart, which I just left and went with Redfin. So 33 plus million people per month take advantage of Redfin. And I have also decided to join the Redfin team. So if you need me, you can find me anywhere. You're going to see me pop up, social media wise, because we have such a strong social media presence. It might take me a little bit to get all of my information switched over. So if you're hearing this on the podcast and you're Googling me, all my numbers have stayed the same. So call my cell, text, whatever. Email is going to be sue.curlette@redfin.com or suecurlette@gmail.com. Luckily, I'd kept that forever. So either way, feel free to reach out. If you see my numbers are still HomeSmart, that'll be changed within the week. It should be updated everywhere. So I'm excited to share that with you. Change is scary. It's absolutely terrifying. I'm not a young lady anymore. I'm going through training this week. And it's like, what? So even the trainers are going, Sue, are you okay? Because I'm not okay. The technology is insane. It's crazy. I'm very comfortable with what I've done for the last 20 years. And this is very new. There's options that are unreal in this website that are going to take me quite a little bit to get. But it's going to be worth it. I'm already excited about it. So it's a good thing to share.
Sue wanted to bring her Texas Instrument calculator to work today.
I wanted to literally, I'm stepping into a new world. It literally is a different world. And if you want to know more, then certainly reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you. If you're an agent and you want to make the change, let me know. I'll certainly tell you my experiences and connect you with whoever you need to be connected with. But if you are listing your house anytime in the near future, certainly get on it, right? I mean, we're looking nationally at homes being on the market for 70, 80, 90 days in some areas now. In Maryland, we're not feeling it yet. We're not feeling that impact yet. But we are feeling a little bit. I had a house that is under contract now, John, that took me 3 weeks. Might seem like a really long time, but that was a long 3 weeks for the seller and me.
So
change is coming, guys.
So I recently was involved in showing a client a house in a lovely neighborhood in Upper Marlboro called Beech Tree.
Love Beech Tree. I love Beech Tree.
Yeah, Beech Tree is a
very
nice
familiar.
neighborhood.
Yes.
Now it's off of 301, Route 301.
Yep, easy access.
And I would say that it's a little closer to DC, but equally as close to Annapolis, south of Baltimore.
Yeah, great area.
My point is, here's my point.
Yep.
And I don't know how many agents do this, but I looked at this house and I said, why the hell hasn't this sold? Mm-hmm. And so I happened to click on history because it indicated that there was a recent price drop. And so when I opened up the history, mm-hmm. and there's a lesson in here for sellers, and there's a lesson in this for agents.
Yes.
I look at the history and I say, wow, this is the second agent they've had on the house.
Yep.
I looked down, I said, wow, gave the first agent 16 days. Maybe, I'm thinking in my head, maybe the seller got pissed off at the agent. It happens, right?
Yeah.
Or you realize, hey, we're not a fit, right?
Yeah.
Somebody.
Sure.
Then, so we showed it with agent number 2, and I have to say, it was gorgeous. It was meticulously maintained. It had large rooms. Our client was unsure, and we had to pause the client because they had to work through some things.
Yeah.
And so we went back to look at the property, and we realized it's off the market again.
Oh, no.
So I said, well, what the hell? So a day later, agent comes to me, and he goes, that property's back on the market. I said, really? He said, yeah. New agent. I said, damn, what are they doing? Like 2 weeks?
Yeah.
He goes, it looks like it.
Yeah. And I said, sellers, hear us. We see you.
I said, listen, and this is for the sellers. Everything that we do is transparent.
Absolutely.
It's in the listing. It's public record. As far as the MLS goes, it's public record. So listen, Agents and seller. If you really want to sell your house, hire the best person for you,
Yep.
and then remove yourself, step back, and allow the professional to execute professionally.
100%.
It's never going to happen in a minute. If you need to move in a minute, you already missed your ticket. You should have moved a long time ago.
Yep.
For agents, this is important for agents. You get a call, come list me, right? We love this. Come list me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I pull a property tax record because I want to make sure that the person who called me is the person I'm going to see, right? One.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I pull their listing, right? I don't pull just their listing. I pull everything,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But when he said everything, we pull everything, right? And so, I'm going to go to a listing appointment and I'm going to be the third agent in.
Yep.
You're going to have to be, I personally, the seller's going to have to give me like a Cleopatra performance
You will not.
to convince me to take that listing.
You will not believe. I have to tell you what I did. This is a time. You just brought it up and you just made me feel this big, John. So thank you. I feel like I'm 2 inches tall. Here's what happened. My first listing as a realtor, 2004.
Okay.
I went on a listing appointment and I got it.
Uh-huh.
And I skipped, danced, sang in the rain, all the way back to the office. I was so excited that the entire office was like, what is going on with her? I got my first listing. Well, let me tell you,
It's
I
exciting.
didn't pull the history. Shame on me. I only did it with my first listing, right? I learned my lesson, very valuable. I happened to be the 6th agent that listed that house. Number 6.
Yeah.
My broker almost immediately started getting phone calls saying that there was a couple things she said. She said that I sent buyers to her house that knocked on her door and said I sent them. So let's talk about that for just a second. That would never happen. If somebody knocks on your door, keep in mind that the sign in the front yard has your agent's name on it. So they didn't have to go very far. All they had to do was look at the sign, to knock on the door and say, hey, homeowner, Sue sent me.
I see your house is for sale.
Right. Sue sent me here and said that I could see your house. Is now a good time? Never going to happen. Okay. So real estate 101. Do not let anybody in your house that says that the agent sent them. We all use a showing service. We all either call the seller ourselves or we use a showing service that allows access to be granted and recorded professionally.
Yeah.
Before, so nobody's going to show up and say they want to buy a house.
But
Unless they're being sneaky.
there's always a person driving around on a Saturday who has cojones about this big that'll get out of their car and go, well, honey, I'll knock on the door. What can she say now?
Absolutely. And you say, absolutely not. There's no way for us to track who you are. There's no information. You cannot come to your home. Wait, it gets worse.
Let's fast forward. Let's fast forward to the 6th agent part.
Okay, so I was getting there. So, long story short, after I talked to my broker, he's like, "Did you send people out there?" And I'm like, "Absolutely not. I would never do that." He's like, "Okay, look, this lady is a little bit upset, so let's just let the listing go. Let's just get rid of her." We pulled up the history. We saw that the house had been listed for over a year and that there was 6 people that had tried to show it. She was at a point where now she started to tell us, I'm only going to permit showings on Saturdays and Sundays from like 1 to 4, period. That's it. That's the only time that was going to be allowed to show the property. So he calls her and says, and here's a lesson for all you realtors listening to this. He calls her and says, look, you know what? We've decided that we're just probably not a good fit for you. And we would like to thank you for the opportunity, but you should probably find another agent to take care of you. You know what she told him? You can't fire me. The listing agreement does not allow you to cancel my listing. Now he's an attorney, by the way. I worked for a lawyer when I first got my license. Thank God. And, he pulled out the listing agreement and he's looking, and and she was absolutely correct. We could not cancel the
What?
listing. We could not terminate the listing. She had to let it go. Now, that's why if you look at any of my listing agreements, there is a termination by either party listed in every agreement that I do. Because although that in 20 years, it's the only time I ever wanted to get out of a listing, I wanted out. Yeah, it was a
Before it was
lesson
done.
learned. It was hard. Yeah, I mean, I was brand new, literally first listing, and bam, right in my face. So I lived, I learned, and I won't do that twice. So the the
Yeah.
the thing is change, right? That was change for me. And I went from selling advertising to selling real estate, and was blown away by the fact that this woman was that aggressive, So needless to say, I learned that lesson, and we move on, and we grow, right? We develop, we grow. Change is good for everybody. At the end of the day,
So
I mean, just saying the buyer broker is a good change. If you're listening to this, I know we've told you a million times, hire your agent. Hire them, hire them, hire them.
yeah.
Don't see a single house without hiring a buyer agent.
What is
You can
that?
always cancel it. A what?
I
A
had a
buyer
buyer
agent?
last year. I had a buyer last year
Yeah,
tell me, fire.
a buyer.
I had a listing somewhere. They were blowing me up on the listing.
Yeah,
And I said, how are you finding these properties? Right. And she's like, well, we look on one of those, I think she said Zillow. We look on Zillow and we see what open houses are in the area in
yeah,
our price range.
yeah,
And then we go to the open houses. She said, or sometimes we go to forsalebyowner.com and then we go to those. And I said to her, I said, well, you told me the other day you don't have a formal pre-approval letter. She goes, no, we'll do that if we find the house.
yeah,
And I said, okay. I said, remember I told you it doesn't really work that way.
yeah,
She said, yeah, but I'm not willing to work that way. And I said, okay. So I said, no, when you contact the for sale by owner, they actually let you in the house?
yeah,
She's like, oh yeah. So note to the for sale by owners,
yep.
you're gonna let a complete stranger in your house,
That can't
but
buy
you
it.
won't let you won't let a complete stranger hold your wallet?
Yep,
Okay.
yep,
So I said to her, I said, you're never gonna find a house that way. And here's a note to why you want to hire talent. We, as a real estate community, we vet every single buyer.
yep,
So the new NAR thing that maybe some of you are grumbling about,
yep.
oh, I got to get them to sign up front now, and
Nah, nah, nah.
you should have been vetting your people all the time.
Yep,
There are agents who are no longer with us because they met the wrong person at the wrong time
absolutely.
in the wrong property. Don't be that.
Yeah,
It's not worth it. If they won't sign, there's probably a reason you don't want to go there.
yeah. There's,
That's my 2 cents. Jane.
not only that, think about the embarrassment, buyers, that you have of meeting a realtor, going out, finding a home, and then realizing you can't buy it. And having to look at that realtor and say, look, sorry I wasted your time. I need 6 months to fix my credit. I need 2 years to fix my credit. I didn't realize this was on there, blah, blah, blah. You're again, I mean, we can't tell you it's not a 3-piece puzzle. It is a 1,000-piece puzzle at least. And when you can get with someone that you're comfortable with, that you're happy with, that you can move forward with, then certainly the value in that is tremendous. I mean, there's nothing that should stop you once you're ready. And that includes seeing a house that's going to haunt you for the rest of your life when you didn't have all your ducks in a row and somebody else got it because they were ready. We can't make you promises that that house is going to be there the next day. And that doesn't matter at any time. I mean, literally, we've had houses that have sat on the house. And John, I'm going to ask you a question. You tell me the truth, what you think. When it rains, it pours, right? If you get one offer, you always get a second. You could have a house on the market for 3 months, not a single offer. And I promise you, the minute that you get an offer, the next day somebody's saying, hey, I want to submit an offer. And you're like, what? So, I mean, it
So,
happens that way. I don't know why, but it really does happen that way.
so I'm going to answer your
A lot.
question, and then I have a story around that.
Okay.
Here, here's what happens. So open your ears, consumers, because I'm going to
Open
give you
up.
a freebie.
A free.
Freebie. You are kind of active, but you're giving that stiff arm to the agent. Like, I don't know if I'm ready to sign, right?
Yeah.
And then you see a property and you're like, oh my God,
It's here.
it's the one, right? And the agent says to you, remember, I've been telling you for about 2 months, you need a pre-approval.
Yep.
I'm happy to show you the house as soon as you get the pre-approval.
Yep.
And you're like, okay, I'll get that today.
Yep.
And the agent says, okay, when you get it and I get a copy of it, I'll schedule. So you're like, boom, 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 blowing the phone up,
Yep.
calling, who can give me a pre-approval? Oh, you actually need my pay stubs? Oh, shit. And then you run around and get pay stubs and bank
Exactly.
statements. And guess what? Day goes by, 2 days go by, 3 days go by.
Yep.
And sometimes agents are willing to do this, not that I would, because if I don't have an agreement with you, I'm not going to put you on the schedule.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
They'll say, okay, I tell you what, let me give you this week. We'll see it on Saturday at 2. And it went on the market on Tuesday, right?
Yep.
And so you're thinking, I'm going to see a house on Saturday at 2.
You're telling
Guess
your
what?
family, you're driving by it.
Guess what? Guess what?
What?
I already accepted an offer on that house.
Yep. There is,
And
I'm
you're
telling you
saying,
right now. Yep. I'm telling you
you're
right
saying,
now.
how can that be? How can that be?
Yeah.
And I'm saying, because thinking about getting ready to get ready ain't the same as being ready.
Yep.
So get ready.
I'm going to tell you right now, one of the biggest lessons that we learned in this crazy market that we've been in the last few years is this. If you wait as a buyer to put an offer in on that property until Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when the agent says, oh, I want to wait, that weekend, you're going to find a better house. It's almost guaranteed, because you're like, oh no, that's the house for me. That's the house. And then the weekend comes. Do you sit home and wait? Absolutely not. You found 5 more houses you want to go see. So you're going to go out and you're going to look at those 5. And now you're going to be like, oh, which one do I want? Or nope, I want to go for this one. Seller, you lost your buyer. You lost your buyer because you wanted to wait for multiple offers. Buyers.
Well, that's a whole different situation.
But it's the same.
That's a whole
It's the
different
same.
situation.
It's literally the same.
It is the same.
It's the
It is the same.
of it, right?
But that is an agent. That is an agent. You have to know how to hear it from a seller that says, I'm probably not going to take the first offer. And you say, the inexperienced agent, you say in your head, okay, I'm going to let that slide. Okay, well, no.
Yep.
He gave you a signal.
Don't you let that slide.
So you need to stop and say, oh, I hear what you're saying. Let's talk about that. Do you have a minute? And then you lay it out for them.
Yep.
Usually the first offer or 2 are your best offers. Okay?
Absolutely.
So you explain to them why his strategy doesn't work in real estate. Now, my story is this. I had a listing. It was overpriced. And it was for a friend of mine, very good friend of mine, all the way back to high school. It was his brother, and it really wasn't his brother's house. It was his brother's wife's house that she owned before they got married. So I go to the house, I meet with them, tell them a couple things I think they should do. Generally, it was like painting the backyard. It wasn't that much. So I list the house, and it was down off of Good Hope, off of Briggs Cheney, which I think it was Silver Spring.
Yeah, Burtonsville, right? Yeah.
It was one of those smaller 2-bedroom Ryland townhouses.
Okay.
If you remember those, it had 2-bedroom, 2 bath.
Yep.
And so anyway, and that thing set. I could not get them to budge. So they're like, we need 305. And I said, look, we've already discussed needs and what you're going to get. You need to be at 295. Listen, we're not going to reduce to 295. And I said, it's going to sit.
Yep.
And they're like, we can wait. And I said, okay. So tick, 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 tick. Honestly, it's a God's honest truth. I got to like day 177,
Oh
right?
my
And
gosh.
I said, I think I'm going to cut them.
Yeah.
It's my prerogative. I told them 305 wasn't the number. Sue had a 405 experience earlier this year, or 505. I said, you need to be at 295. You may get an
Yep.
offer at 300. If you do, run with it. So we
Yep.
started talking about, I think it's time that maybe you find something fresh and I find something else, and maybe just taking it off the market and refreshing it may help you. And so we
Mhm.
literally were coming
Absolutely.
to the end of the year, right? And so I said, maybe you
Right.
should take it off, refresh it. So, damn it, on Saturday, I have a showing.
Here comes the
And I
offer.
said,
Right.
great. And I said, okay, so I'm getting blown up. And
It
it's
never
this
fails.
agent from Montgomery County. And she said, my guy loves it. He's in
Yeah.
town for just this weekend. He lives in Hawaii. He's relocating. His parents are helping him. They want him to come back. They're helping him. Damn it, if we didn't. I went under contract on day 180 and we settled.
Oh
Now, we
my
had
gosh.
lots of other issues. We had lots of other
Yeah.
issues. However, I'm not an advocate. And first of all, I don't have an attention span of 180. I might have an attention span of
Right.
8. So, but
Yeah.
anyway, it worked out and they were able to move. And that is the abnormal positive outcome. Usually when you're at a listing appointment and the seller's like, no sign, no showings during the day, no
Right.
this, I don't want that. You can't put my pictures on the internet. I hear it. It's their house. They get to do what they want. However,
When
we get to choose if we think that working with that client is a fit for us too. And
right.
it's empowering. It's really empowering to stand up and say, listen, before I take any of your money or any of your time, I don't think this one's for me.
It's
And
you have to.
I'd rather bow out now than
Yeah.
have you mad at me later because perhaps I'm not a fit for you.
Yep.
And you
Yep.
pick up
There's
and walk
there's
out the
so
door.
much to be there's so much to be said about interviewing your agents. Like when
Yes.
you when
Yes.
you feel like that person not only has knowledge and experience, but they also have the ability to keep you up to date, to talk to you about social media, to talk to you about what they're going to do to sell your home, to talk to you about um, what decisions you're going to make and how you're going to educate yourself in this process. Some people say, Sue, this is your thing, you do it, we're
Get that.
comfortable with whatever you tell us. And I mean, that's great, that's fine, that's what I prefer. However, it's not my decision, and unless I educate you on our first meet to understand that, hey, look, you're going to set your sales price. You're not pulling me into the real estate association or commission saying she told me this is what it's worth. No, I educated you on what the market was providing at that
Yeah.
day, at that given time, and I make sure that I can back it up. So if you are not going to, if you're just going to say to your agent, you price it, tell me what you think I should do, just going to trust you, then make sure that they're experienced, make sure they're educated, and make sure they're doing
Some
everything they
some
can.
do.
Some
I,
agents
I
say, I
keep
won't do an open house. There's no such thing as open houses. Let me tell you, I'm queen of open houses. I live them. I love them. I get business out of them. But I will be honest with you, most of the time, I get business out of them. So you're hearing it first from me. I have sold them, probably, especially years ago when we didn't have, a gazillion agents out there. Um, there was a time where you could have an open house and people would walk in. We are going to see it again this year. I believe that is going to be a big change. We're going to see people going to open houses alone, with unrepresented, because they're scared of the buyer agency thing. and they're going to come in on their own and they're going to expect to get some deal because they're in there on their own. And, I'm never going to tell anyone, even if they come to my open house, I'm going to say, look, I can work with you, but you should have a buyer's agent. Call John Smith.
Yeah.
And, or whoever. The bottom line
So
is greed is costly. It's more costly than referring someone.
yeah.
And I truly believe that if you're going to try to do both sides of a transaction, good for you. It's legal. You can try to do that. But if you know somebody that's going to serve them and going to serve them really well, then make the referral. It will come back to you. There are agents that feed each other, that we help each other. I would be happy and honored to refer you to John any day of the week.
Here,
And I think he
I'll
feels the same, even though he's not admitting it.
yes, to key on your statement about they're going to go to a lot of open
Yeah,
houses this year, and they're looking for a deal.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What the sellers have to understand is there's a reason why they're going to open houses. That
Yep,
reason is it doesn't require a buyer agency commitment to get in to see your house.
yep,
So temper your excitement by, well, we had 40
absolutely.
people per house. I've only had 40 through one house,
Yep,
one house. If you have 8 or
yep.
7 or 9 or 10, you have to understand, Mr. Seller, they're not vetted. They're not. Now,
They're not.
occasionally,
They're literally
I
walking
had a
in. Yep,
blind. I had a couple show up one time. I was doing an open with a friend, and she asked if I could come along. Right?
yep,
It was during COVID, and we
yep.
kind of were like trapped in a house with a person, right? And so I said, I'll come along. And I swear
Yeah,
to you, this couple came in, and we actually had a desk up out front where you had to sign in, and we'd only allow one group through at a time, right? And I said to her while the other
yeah,
group was in, I said, how'd you find the open house, through the internet or from the signs in the neighborhood? She goes, oh no, internet. I said, really? I said, well,
yeah,
I had a couple come from Severn. This was in Rockville. She goes, hell, I got that beat. We
yep,
drove down from PA. And I said, you did? And she
yep,
goes, yeah, we left. I don't know. We left about 10:30, 11 this morning. We got a little something
yeah,
to eat. And she
yeah.
goes, we're serious. And she goes like this. She goes, here's my pre-approval. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, don't count on that, because that's not usually the way it happens. These are non-committed people that
No,
are thinking about making a moving decision and transaction. And usually what happens is your house sells to somebody who came through with an agent, because the agent made sure that that person was positioned to buy today, not tomorrow, not Saturday, today.
absolutely.
However, occasionally, this is why we ask questions, and this is why you as a seller should ask us questions. How do you handle open houses? How do you handle your traffic? Do you have a standard pitch that you
Exactly.
give to the traffic? Yes, I think just like everything else in real estate, we ought to have a system and we ought to follow it, because I find that if I work within the systems, my accomplishment rate is at a much higher rate, and I'm able to stay on task with like 4, 5, 6 deals at a time and be in every single one of those deals, because I standardize everything that goes on my head. Ask questions. You're hiring, you're paying, right?
Yep,
Everybody wants to give somebody
yep.
a break. I got my first listing, and I'll tell you, it was a big listing, but he was a client of mine from another life, mortgages. So I
Yep,
walked in with paperwork, and
yep.
he's like, hey, I know this is your first one, no sweat. He goes, I think I got everything. I told him, I think I got everything highlighted. He goes, just let me run through it real quick. And he goes, yeah, everything looks good to me. Here, sign, sign, sign. He said, Marie, sign, sign. He said, let me know when the photographer's going. I was there like 11 minutes, right? So
Oh my gosh.
I like newbies,
Yeah,
but if you're selling $1 million house, that's a lot of money.
yeah. If
So
you're a new realtor and this is a change for you and you're coming into this market, welcome. You know what I mean? Let me just say, we welcome you. We want you to do well. We want you to be one of the ones that are, around 20 years from now. We want you to have a great life, a great experience. And if you don't, we want you to get out, because that's honestly part of the problem, is that there's a lot of people that don't put the time in, that don't put the energy and the focus in, and they don't do everything that they should be doing for you. It's a 1,000-piece puzzle. If you're not good at it and you don't like it, then you're working, right? And a lot of, there's an old wise tale or whatever you call it, where it says, you'll never work a day in your life if you really love what you do. And I believe that's true. And I believe that for me, real estate has been a blessing. I mean, it's been a wonderful opportunity to raise my kids, to be able to be involved in their lives, to be able to have my own schedule, set my own schedule. And yes, I just signed on with a very, very large company, and it's going to be huge change for me. And it's going to be quadrupling my business, and I'm going to probably start a team, and I'm going to hit hard for the next 20 years, guys. I mean, maybe not 20, at least the next 15. I am going to be going at 100 miles an hour. So I'm excited for that. That's where I'm at. I'm looking forward to developing, growing, and being part of this change, and being part of making the consumer educated, educating the consumer, and giving them the opportunity to make an educated decision. Everything I've done is based on that in my life. I don't believe in dictating. I don't want to be dictated to. I want to be able to learn and make my own decisions. And I want my customers to feel like they made their own decisions as well. So, all in all, change is good. It's a good thing.
it is
I'm
good.
really liking the buyer agency requirement. I really am. I didn't think I would. Um,
I like
but
them.
that
I tell you what,
knowledge is power.
I want to give this back to the new agents, because I don't want them to think that I'm saying stay
Yeah.
away. I think
No.
being an agent on the front end, some of us in the industry refer to the lead agent as the rainmaker. That's the person that
Yeah.
makes the phone ring, makes the leads come in. This business is much bigger than that. What you see when you see your agent and they're opening doors or they're problem solving on your listing, that's a small little piece. However,
It's nothing.
just because you don't like the rainmaker piece, you don't like your Saturdays and Sundays with your phone going off 24/7, there are other
Right.
things within the industry that you can do. So if you care about people and you want to help
Absolutely.
people, there are all kinds of administrative roles that you could
Yeah.
play, get a paycheck, which is probably more to your internal comfort. Like, I got a paycheck this
Yeah.
Friday. Woo, 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 woo. Oh, guess what? I'm getting another
Yeah.
one 2 Fridays from now. It's okay. Nobody has to do what I
Exactly.
do. Nobody has to
Imagine
do what
that.
Sue does. I mean,
Right. It's
yes,
not necessary. Right.
you don't have to be this. This is what we choose to be,
Yeah.
but there are roles for you. So if you get into real estate and you
Yeah.
realize, I like real estate, I don't want to
I
be the
hate it.
rainmaker. I don't want to
Yeah.
be, I don't want to take on that level of responsibility, because everybody gets into the business saying, well, I'll just start my own business and I'll start my own team. And then you get in and you realize, I wish they would have told me a little bit more
Yeah.
about the difficulties when I was taking that state exam, or when I was taking
Yeah.
my new agent orientation classes, and they started talking about a thing called a funnel. And I thought we were going to get some flour out and some eggs and oil and make a cake. But they were talking
And make a
about
cake.
leads, and you got to put them in your funnel.
Yeah.
So there's other things you can do. Don't go
Yeah.
away like everybody in real estate hates me because I'm new. That's not true. New is good. New is good. It
Yeah,
brings
no,
new energy.
not at all. And as a matter of fact, there are agents, right? There's new agents out there that that want to be part of a team, and I would love to
It's a
have
good
10
place
new
to learn.
agents. Let me just not even lie. I would love to take in 10 new agents that are really motivated and are going to do what I tell them to do, and that are going to, you know, strive to make themselves better and to give their family a great life. And you know what I mean? The problem is, of that 10 agents that would come in, that probably one of them actually wants to do that. And that's the reality of this business. It is not something that
It's
you wake
tough.
up, you sit down
It's
at eight
tough.
o'clock in the morning and you start your workday. It's just not. Um,
It's
you
tough.
know, you're literally going to be, I want to go to a high school and say, hey, you know, the kids that were out climbing on the jungle gym a half an hour before school started, if that's you, please make it to the left wall. And then, hey, remember the kids that climbed all the way to the rope in the 80s and rang the bell? Yeah, can you please go to that same wall? And
Get them.
then, you know, right, you guys that couldn't stay in your classroom and you went to the bathroom 3 times because you just couldn't sit there for an hour and 45 minutes. Yeah,
That
go to
class
that
was
wall.
killing me. Yeah, that
Yeah,
class is
class
killing me.
was
Yeah.
literally sucking the life out of you. You're who we want, right? Like, you are perfect for this industry. If you cannot sit behind a desk because your butt hurts from sitting in the chair and you got to get up, you are the right person for real estate. Now, like John said before, and I think this is really important, you might not want that lead role, right? Home joiner is a prime example. I will sit here and publicly say I was so excited and I was so motivated. It's a bulletin board. It's going to allow you to meet people that you want to meet. Um, at the same time, it's not going to make me any money right now, right? And I need to hit the ground running. So what did I do? I said, you know what? I could just say, nah, I'm not going to do this website, but that's not who I am. My whole motivation is to say, that'll take care of itself. Let me grow my real estate business. Let me finish really strong. Let me bring my daughter in if that's what she wants to do. Join a team with me and let's just kill it for the next 10, 12, 15 years. And if you're going to buy in North Carolina or South Carolina, come 5 years from now, maybe when I'm sitting on the beach, I already have my license down there, guys. So let me just say I'm ready.
You won't be sitting
And
on the beach. You won't
the
be
the
sitting on
clock
the
is
beach.
ticking. I will be sitting on the
Your
beach
clients will be sitting.
because
You will not. You will
I'm
not.
sitting on the beach at
You,
6 in the morning. I'll be selling
you will
multi-million
not.
dollar waterfront. Okay,
You
that's
will
fine
not.
with me too.
You might be doing that, but you ain't gonna be sitting on the beach.
I might be doing that. Yeah, I mean, real estate is fun. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to be respected. It's meant to be
Yeah.
shared and cared for. And it is the biggest investment you guys are ever going to make in your lives. And we understand that. And we are honored to be part of that. You know what I mean? Like John and I both have a lot of respect for anybody in this country that can buy a house. If you are able to buy a house, pat yourself on the back. Not everybody can do it. You know, you've
No, it's not
earned
for
the
everybody.
right to be a homeowner. Make sure,
It's not for
yeah, make
everybody.
sure the
It's
person
not
you
for
hire has
everybody.
also earned the right to be part of your journey. It's absolutely
Listen,
not. Homeownership's not for everybody.
listen,
Yeah,
I helped this lady years ago buy her first house and she was in her 50s. Bless her heart,
yeah,
right? Her
yep.
mother had passed away and left her a little bit of money and she said, "I've been renting all my life and I want to own a little house." And I said, "I can make it happen." We got into how long
Amen.
you've been paying rent and all that
Amen.
stuff. That's not the part of the story. So
Oh God, it's sickening. Don't
yes,
even, yeah.
home ownership is a game changer. I have some clients now that bought right before the pandemic, and I would tell you that not a single one of them has less than $100,000 in equity in 4 years. Okay. Anyway, back to
Absolutely.
this lady. Back to this
Absolutely.
lady.
Yeah.
About a year later, I got a phone call from her and
Yeah.
she goes, "I have a problem." I said, "Okay, what's your problem?" She goes, "You need to send an HVAC guy to my house because I don't have any heat." And I said, "Hold on, time out." I said, "Remember you
A
bought
year
the
later.
house. And she said, yeah, but it's broke and you need to fix it. And I said, okay,
Oh my
maybe I
gosh.
missed some signals. Maybe I missed some signals. I said, but you own it. I'll give you a name of a
Right.
contractor. But as the owner, you're going to pay to fix it. And you're going to have the choice of whether you want to fix all of it or some of it. And she goes, wow, I didn't really understand that. I said, I understand that now. I didn't then. And then I proceeded to explain to her, let's
Yeah.
get you a warranty. Let's get you a warranty in case something else like this happens. And
Yeah.
this warranty will let you pay,
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, $18 a month. And she goes, I can do that. And I said, well, for the same $18, this one's going to cover like your stove. See, if you paid BG&E $18 a month, it's
Yeah.
only going to
The
cover
roof,
that furnace
plumbing.
and the water heater.
Yep.
It's not going to cover your faucet. It's not going to cover
Yep.
any of that. So, yes,
Yeah.
homeownership is exciting, but you have to understand you own it. I just signed a contract today on a listing. 2 days,
Yeah.
right? However, I always
On.
talk to my
Sold.
seller about warranties. And so
Yeah.
we always offer a warranty. When I say we, based on the conversation I have with the seller, I explain the importance. And they say, you know what? Just
Yep.
give them the warranty. So we give everybody a warranty. And you know what? Either I don't hear from you, or in 6 months, the agent's calling me and I'm like, okay, what happened? And they're like, how'd you know I was going to call? And I said, if I get a call from you 6 months after closing, you generally need me to help you with a warranty issue. Yeah, I do.
There are differences in each company.
Yeah.
Just tell you something else too. And I mean this with the most open heart that I can. If you buy a house and you think that you can tell your friend how to buy their house, you can't. Okay, we run into this often where we're sitting down with a buyer or a seller, it doesn't really matter what side you're on. And they say, well, my best friend just bought a house and we didn't like her realtor because her realtor did XYZ. Okay, you know what? I hear you, but that puzzle was not a 1 piece, 3 piece, 8 piece puzzle.
No.
There was 1,000 pieces. So I don't want to know. I don't want to know about what bad experiences you had. I want you to trust the process, trust the situation, and trust that there's always going to be hurdles. We need you to understand that there's hurdles. If you think it's going to be a skate in the park or a walk in the park, whatever you say, it's not. You've got to be with somebody that can stand up and fight back if they have to. People, I have had to say to people, because I try to be very nice. John's brought this up before. I seem like a very passive, nice person, and I am. Truly. I take pride in the fact that I try to be really nice to everybody. However, right? Here's the truth of it, John, right? Here's the truth. I'm also very knowledgeable and very determined to get my way. No is not in my vocabulary. Chances are, if you say no, I'm going to say, how can I get you to change your mind? How can I earn your business? How can I do this? How can I do that? John is living proof that I am stubborn, and that I get what I want most of the time. So it's not an easy process. It takes time, it takes hard work, and it takes focus. We want to give you everything that we can. We want to leave it all on the table for you. So let us know how we can help. If there's somebody that you really want to talk about, if you want to join us, feel free. If you want to share your stories, feel free. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Have a great day.